Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on human-centered leadership in an AI era. I'm very excited about this session because I know a little bit about AI, but could always know more. So we are recording the session. If you need to if you pop in late or have to leave early, you can catch up on what you've missed. But I would like to start by acknowledging the ongoing custodians of the various lands on which we work today and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to First Nations people joining us today. So a brief introduction from me if you haven't joined one of these before. So I'm Angela Franks, the partner for Fraser Jones in Australia. We're a global HR recruitment business, but we operate across the whole spectrum of HR and safety. In Australia, we have teams in Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne. We do cover the whole of Australia, but that's where our teams are based. Thrilled to be hosting this webinar. I'm very, very grateful to Sophie for joining us and sharing her knowledge and wisdom on leadership and those leadership skills in the AI environment. So Sophie is an experienced HR professional and is the founder of Realised Potential Group. She spent the better part of 6 years, I think it was, at Tiffany & Co before launching her business. And taking her learnings from her psychology background and MBA studies, Sophie now helps leaders create programs, ways of working and cultural norms and leadership practices through the programs that she runs. This includes executive coaching, wellbeing coaching and career coaching amongst other things. Her signature leadership development program is called Human-Centered Leader High Performing Team, which is tailored to all levels of leaders, and she does that on-site or off-site. And Sophie's got an off-site retreat happening, which she'll cover later on, so she'll share some of that. But let's turn our thoughts to AI now. I'm going to launch a quick poll. So Mel, if you could help me with that. So I just wanted to get a quick understanding of where everyone's at with their level of comfort and understanding of AI. So we've got 4 options there if everyone can vote. So I'm an expert and like attending webinars to learn more. I know a fair bit, but there's gaps. It's confusing to me, help, and none of the above. So I'm probably number 2 actually on that. But if everyone wants to vote, we'll give you a second. And then just to give you the heads up as well, Sophie, we're going to try and do a breakout room. When I say try, we haven't done one with this size of group before. So bear with us if we have a few technical hiccups, but I'm sure it'll all be fine. But that's coming up later. All right, Mel, have we got the voting done? Okay. All right. That's a good mix. So I think hopefully everyone can see the results, but I know a fair bit, but there are gaps seems to be the winner. So I'm not alone, Sophie, I'm not alone.
I want the experts there to come forward and maybe support with the webinar.
We've got the chat and the Q&A there. So, all right, well, look, yeah, Sophie, I'll hand over to you. I'll be monitoring the chat and the Q&A. So if anyone's got any questions, I'll try and share them with Sophie as we go. And we will be sharing the slides later today and the recording will be sent out next week, hopefully. So over to you, Sophie.
Thank you so much, Angela. That was such a nice welcome. And I'm so happy to be here with you all. Having worked in HR for over 17 years, I know the challenges and pressures that HR leaders face and absolutely love these opportunities to offer insights to support you and your leaders to make life simpler and more fulfilling. So as HR leaders, you're often guiding and empowering your leaders to lead in a way that captures the hearts and the minds of your workforce to catalyze their efforts towards a meaningful vision and deliver strategic goals. That was certainly my objective in my roles at Accent Group and Tiffany & Co before stepping into my coaching and consulting business. Now, we do this by developing an acute understanding of our people and partnering with leaders to cultivate a culture that unleashes human potential. We focus on what's within our control and manage around what isn't. However, I think we can all agree that what's outside our control has been tipping over the edge over the last 3 years, starting with the pandemic, then, of course, the skills shortage, the gender and the social injustice tensions, and the energy and financial crisis, and of course, now the advent of AI. Now, all these external factors, they do have one thing in common. They're all about the unknown. And we all know what the unknown does to people. It often scares us. So in this talk, I'll share briefly about the AI landscape as it is now, the opportunities and the challenges for leaders and HR. The aim here is to try and demystify the unknown and share how organizations are currently leveraging AI to empower their teams to focus on more higher value tasks and improve efficiency and just achieve better outcomes. I'll then go over the leadership capabilities that are crucial for navigating change in the AI age. And following this, I'll share how we can leverage the power of our brains to firstly lead ourselves and then our teams through the unknown and the impact of the unknown on us and our work. You and your leaders are constantly navigating uncharted waters. So through this talk, I hope to provide some insights to how you can do this with a bit more ease and flow going forward. Here, I'll also talk about a leader's greatest superpower, their self-awareness and EQ and mindset. Where AI can augment cognitive abilities, human beings' superpower will always remain our emotional intelligence, our consciousness, our self-awareness, and our ability to respond to the unknown and plan ahead. Now, I'm prefacing this talk by being very clear that I'm by no means an AI expert, but I'm great at research into the impacts on leaders, and my strengths are in the human elements of leading organizations and navigating uncertainty, which is where the focus of the webinar will be. But first, a little bit about my organization and why it exists. So having worked in HR leadership roles, partnering talented leaders in organizations focused on hyper growth and new markets, managing through uncertain and volatile times, I had the very good fortune of deploying many of my psychology insights and strategies to influence and drive organizational practices, policies, systems of work that enabled leaders to lead with purpose and catalyze the efforts of their teams to achieve on their growth targets, whilst also making a positive impact on their teams, families, communities, and in society at large through the many CSR activities that these businesses took part in. My business was born out of a need for me to align with my values, which is to be an active and present parent and human being, and work in my areas of strengths and passion. I think this has been a goal for many this past few years, because ever since I went out on my own, I've attracted many clients looking for skills and guidance to step into their power and do work that aligns with their life instead of the other way around. So I do individual coaching of this nature, plus career and wellbeing coaching as well. And then the organizational work that I do is partner with and develop many leaders through coaching, leadership training, people strategy consulting, and executive retreats. A big area of support is leading through change and disruption, which is why this topic is of so much interest to me. Okay, so let's start demystifying the AI landscape by going over what it actually is. AI refers to the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that would typically require human intelligence. It is a broad field that encompasses various techniques and approaches to mimic or simulate human cognitive abilities such as learning, problem solving, perception, and decision making. Now, as you all probably know, AI systems are designed to analyze and interpret large amounts of data, identify patterns, and make informed predictions or decisions based on the available information. These systems can learn from experience and improve their performance over time, and this is often referred to as machine learning. There are different types of AI. The two types are laid out for you on the screen. Narrow AI, also known as weak AI, focuses on performing specific tasks or functions within a limited domain. So some examples include voice assistants like Siri or Alexa, or chatbots like ChatGPT or self-driving cars, recommendation systems used by online platforms, and image recognition algorithms as well. General AI aims to possess the same level of intelligence as humans, being capable of understanding, learning, and performing any intellectual task that a human can do. However, true general AI has not been achieved yet and remains largely theoretical. So no bicentennial man available to cook our meals and make our beds as yet, I'm afraid. So here is a SWOT analysis for narrow AI in business. I'll just share a few from each quadrant. One of the main strengths are enhanced efficiency, because AI can automate routine tasks and optimize processes and improve operational efficiency. The next major strength is data analysis, as AI can process large volumes of data quickly, extract insights, and facilitate data-driven decision-making. Personalization is another strength, as it enables personalized customer experiences, tailored recommendations, and targeted marketing campaigns. In terms of weaknesses, AI systems require access to quality data, and it may rely on incomplete or biased data sets, which can actually impact accuracy and performance, which has been the issue we've seen with ChatGPT. It has lack of human judgment, leading to potential errors or misinterpretation of complex situations. It raises ethical concerns regarding privacy, bias, job displacement, and responsibility for AI-driven decisions. Some of the opportunities include that it has process automation, and it reduces costs and frees up human resources for more complex tasks. I urge you to consider how you can free up your teams using AI in this way. So, for example, I use ChatGPT to create all my case study activities that I use in leadership training, because it saves me so much time. Another opportunity are the AI-powered chatbots, virtual assistants, and personalized recommendations that can enhance the customer satisfaction and loyalty. And I'll share some of the many examples of this soon. Now, the obvious threats are the data security risks, because AI systems are more vulnerable to data breaches and hacking or misuse, leading to privacy and security concerns. Evolving regulations and legal frameworks around AI may impose constraints on its development and usage. And AI automation may actually result in job displacement and require reskilling or upskilling of the workforce, but I guess the upskilling is also an incredible opportunity. So, being a trainer at heart, I'd like to take 5 minutes to have you interact with one another in breakout rooms, if we can possibly help it.
Sophie, Mel's just been messaging me. We've been quickly scrambling to try and figure out the setting, but unfortunately, we can't do it. We think it might have been down from our head office up in London. I'm so sorry. We'll have it ready maybe for another time. Can we do it in the chat or the Q&A instead, or would that just be a bit tricky?
Yes. No, I think that's a great idea. So basically what I was going to ask you is just to come up with a strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat of what that presents, what AI presents to your business. But maybe we can just ask people to share a strength.
Yeah, the strengths probably. Even with the personalization, the first thing you think about with the customer experience is, I get the weekly email from like Woolies or Coles saying, these are the things that you buy and these are the things on offer.
Yes.
Like that is just, for me, the most amazing thing in the world.
Yes, it's just a time saver.
Yeah, it's so good. And I know it's personalized.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Right, what have we got? Yeah, time saving, removing low value admin tasks. Yeah.
Yes.
Checking tone in email responses, enhancing, knows my preferences. And I think that's a big thing. Like, could you imagine if one person, like if we use that Coles or Woolies email, like no person could do that. Like it just takes way too long.
I know. I love the checking tone in email responses. I haven't tried that yet. That's a really clever idea. I guess you would put your email into ChatGPT to determine that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. James, if you could, he said, that's it.
Yeah, I love it.
To generate the deeper insights and analytics of survey feedback. So, Kath, are you using ChatGPT for that as well? If you're there and can answer that, because that's a really interesting one, because I've not thought to do that before. I'll see if Kath's going to reply to that. And actually the starter thinking and scaffolds for building off, I think that's a really important one, because some people, you know, depending on how your brain works, it's like, I'm really good if I know what I like, but starting it from scratch is a lot harder.
Yes, absolutely.
Kat's replied, and said AI powered tools within Qualtrics. That's really interesting. Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have heard about that.
Gathering
Definitely
data quickly.
time saving.
Sorry,
Okay,
we're reading through it all
cool.
the time. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great way to explore the subject matter, isn't it? Applying it to your life and applying it to your organization. So thank you for those that interacted. So I'd now like to focus on the strengths and opportunities for a moment, as I know there is much debate and work currently being done to mitigate the weaknesses and the threats. So I'll share some real life examples of organizations. Let's start with Uber. They've been using AI to optimize their operations and improve driver efficiency since they started operating. So this is not new for them. It's actually the reason they're in business in the first place. They use it to analyze data on factors such as traffic patterns, rider demand, and driver availability to match drivers with passengers more effectively and reduce wait times. Hilton, for example, utilize AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants to streamline guest services and enhance team productivity. Their AI system handles common inquiries, provides information, and automates processes, allowing hotel staff to focus on more complex guest needs. Christian Dior employs AI in various aspects of its business. For example, AI-powered chatbots and virtual stylists assist customers in selecting and recommending products based on their preferences and style. They also use AI and augmented reality tech for virtual try-on to enable customers to virtually try on products. By leveraging computer vision, customers can see how products such as clothing or accessories will look on them, improving the overall customer experience and encouraging purchases. Google has been incorporating AI in various services such as language translation, image recognition, and voice assistants like Google Assistant. Google also extensively applies AI to enhance team productivity, for instance, in the Google Workspace, which includes tools like Gmail, Docs, and Calendar to automate tasks like email prioritization, suggested replies, and smart scheduling within Workspace. JP Morgan Chase utilize AI to analyze market data, make trading decisions, detect fraud, and automate customer service transactions. At H&M, AI technologies are used for demand forecasting, analyzing sales data and customer trends to optimize inventory management and ensure the right products are available at the right time, similar to Angela, your Coles example or Woolworths example, and also Amazon and Christian Dior do this. They also use AI to automate and streamline various administrative tasks such as data entry and processing, freeing up the workforce to focus on more value-added activities. They also use chatbots and virtual assistants to provide customer support and handle common inquiries. IBM has an AI system called IBM Watson that has been employed in multiple sectors, including healthcare. Watson's cognitive computing capabilities have been utilized to analyze medical data and assist healthcare professionals in making accurate diagnoses and treatment decisions. Now, these are just a few examples showcasing how organizations across different industries are capitalizing on the opportunities presented by AI to drive innovation, improve operations, enhance customer experiences, and improve team efficiency and performance. I'd now like to share how HR teams are benefiting from AI today, given the vast majority of this group are HR professionals. IBM is using AI to enhance its recruitment processes with the help of IBM Watson, which helps automate the initial screening of resumes and identify the most suitable candidates for specific roles. All reports suggest that this has significantly reduced the time and effort required for resume screening, allowing HR teams to focus on more strategic aspects of the hiring process. Unilever implemented an AI-driven digital hiring assistant called Tengai, which conducts structured interviews and assesses candidates using a predefined set of questions. It eliminates human bias and provides objective evaluations based on the candidate's responses. And this tool has helped Unilever streamline their initial screening process and improve the overall quality and fairness of their hiring decisions.
So for Unilever, oh, sorry for interrupting, just quickly on Unilever, do they do that for a certain type of role, like a sales role or like a medical, like, you know, what sort of level are they applying that to?
Yeah, good question. At this point, as far as I'm aware from the HR department, they use it for every role.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very interesting, yeah. And I know a lot of organizations are starting to jump on, but Unilever's been using it for quite some time. And Hilton introduced an AI robot named Connie. I just love these names. Tengai, Connie, Watson, who acts as a concierge and provides personalized recommendations to guests. Not only does Connie enhance the guest experience, but also generates valuable data that HR teams use to identify patterns, preferences, and trends, helping them make informed decisions regarding employee training to improve guest services. Uber has a trust and safety AI to enhance safety and security within its platform. They also use machine learning models to identify potential risks and take proactive measures to mitigate them. For example, the AI system can flag suspicious activities or unsafe driver behavior, enabling HR teams to investigate and address issues promptly, helping create a safer environment, not just for staff, but for riders as well. So these case studies demonstrate how AI technology is revolutionizing HR practices, from recruitment and talent acquisition to employee engagement and safety. By leveraging it, HR teams are automating administrative tasks, which I know is very crucial right now to try and automate because we've got staff shortages and hiring freezes. And of course, you know, just in general, it helps make things more efficient and allow HR teams to really focus on more value add elements of their roles. Now, aside from those real life examples I mentioned, there is also a huge opportunity for HR to use AI for employee onboarding. So, for example, using chatbots and virtual assistants to provide instant support and guidance, answering common employee questions about policies, benefits, and assisting with the onboarding process. And it can be used to create personalized training programs because you can set it up to identify skill gaps and recommend relevant learning resources. For employee engagement and retention, it can help use sentiment analysis tools to analyze employee feedback, sentiments, and engagement levels in real time, which enables HR to take a more proactive approach in responding to some of those things that come up, rather than running a company-wide survey as we've done in the past and waiting months to review results and then implementing actions when the data insights are no longer relevant. From a D&I perspective, it can help detect and mitigate bias in job descriptions, recruitment processes, and performance evaluations. So some companies are using it for blind resume screening to minimize unconscious biases and promote fair hiring practices. So while, you know, all this brings many opportunities to the HR profession, it's of course essential to consider the ethical implications and ensure that these AI applications do align with legal and regulatory frameworks as those start to become available. HR professionals will continue to play a crucial role in overseeing large-scale change projects like this, ensuring transparency, fairness, and ethical use of these technologies. So, as mentioned before, AI is built to emulate the cognitive functions of the human brain. Here is a summary of, I guess, these specific functions you would have heard through the examples I've shared. Do I foresee an increase in AI-driven redundancies over the next few years? Sadly, yes, but largely these tasks cannot be deployed solely by AI tech. They need to be overseen by human beings. So I do envision a major disruption to traditional roles and a complete redesign of roles that currently incorporate these tasks. While AI can provide insights and augment decision-making, it is the human qualities of judgment, creativity, and empathy that will continue to drive innovation and value creation. If leaders focus on cultivating these qualities within themselves and their teams, they will undoubtedly unlock the collective intelligence of the organization and foster an environment of collaboration, learning, and growth. So if we can use AI to support with these routine and repetitive human functions, the emotional, the planning, the critical thinking capabilities become all the more relevant, which brings me to the key capabilities that leaders need to develop within themselves and cultivate within their team in the AI era. So based on my research and work with firms currently implementing AI in their organizations, here are 10 leadership skills that I believe are essential for leading in this age. The first is a learning and growth mindset, and this is because knowledge is power, and we can never have enough. Leaders must have a continuous learning mindset to keep themselves updated with the latest advancements in AI. They need to understand its potential and impact on their specific industry and how it can be applied to drive innovation and competitive advantage. By embracing a culture of learning, leaders can make informed decisions and effectively leverage AI in their organizations. They can cultivate a learning mindset within their team by instituting things like lunch and learns to explore ideas for leveraging AI in each department, or put in place innovation hubs as a stretch assignment for top performers. Secondly, AI implementation often requires collaboration with experts in data, science, technology, and other relevant fields. Leaders need to foster that collaborative environment both within their organization and with external partners. By doing this, they can access necessary expertise, exchange ideas, and drive successful AI initiatives. Third, as AI becomes increasingly integrated into business operations, leaders must prioritize ethical decision-making. They need to consider the ethical implications of AI, such as privacy, bias, and transparency. Leaders and HR teams should establish ethical guidelines and policies to ensure it's being used responsibly and in alignment with policies and procedures. Next, leaders need a clear vision for how AI can transform their organization. They should focus on leveraging a compass rather than a fixed map, as the AI landscape is constantly evolving. Focusing on guiding principles and long-term goals rather than rigid plans is going to be key, because it enables leaders to adapt to the rapidly changing AI landscape and navigate uncharted waters with agility and resilience. Being okay with uncertainty is very crucial. I always say to my clients, the unknown is the realm of infinite potential. And when we're willing to withstand the discomfort of it, we also make ourselves available to new experiences that we might have never considered before. 5 is critical thinking. When we're dealing with potentially biased tools, we need all the critical thinking we can get to ensure our use of AI chatbots like ChatGPT will not lead to biased decisions. 6 is job and organizational design, and this is where the HR expertise is critical. AI implementation often requires redesigning job roles and organizational structures. Leaders should have the ability to assess how it will impact existing jobs, identify opportunities for automation, and define new roles that leverage human and AI collaboration. They need to ensure smooth transition for employees, providing upskilling or reskilling opportunities, and create a supportive environment for those changes. And then once leaders are clear on a specific AI technology to implement, they need strong planning and change management skills within their HR capability to successfully deploy it. Effective change management involves communicating the vision, addressing employee concerns, and providing the necessary resources and training to adapt to those AI-driven changes, particularly as mentioned when it comes to job redesign. Given our cognitive skills will continue to be eclipsed by smart machines, I would say heart-centered skills will become ever more important. Timeless leadership traits like integrity and emotional intelligence are critical, but also humility. And they need to be adaptable to the challenges that get thrown into their paths, steadfast in their vision of the ultimate destination on this path, and constantly engaged with the changing world around them. AI implementation can bring about uncertainty and change in the workplace. Leaders must understand and address the emotions and concerns of employees by providing support and fostering a positive and resilient culture. 9 is alignment and communication. Leaders must ensure alignment between AI initiatives and the overall organizational strategy, and they need to communicate the purpose, the goals, and benefits of AI to their teams, because effective communication fosters transparency, trust, and engagement amongst employees, enabling them to embrace and contribute to the AI-driven transformations. So by developing and owning these skills, leaders and their organizations will win in the AI era. And it takes days to explore each of these capabilities on a deeper level. So what I'll do next is deep dive into that I feel are most crucial. And these are vision and emotional intelligence. So the first is vision. When leaders are faced with navigating uncharted waters where there is no map, they only have 2 options. The first is to leverage their inner compass, and second is the collective intelligence of their leadership team and organization. The inner compass in this context is your intuition or inner genius, and it's the ability to make decisions or perceive insights without relying solely on logical or analytical reasoning. While data and analysis are crucial in the decision-making process, intuition can provide valuable insights and guide leaders in ambiguous and uncertain situations. Now, intuition is not something woo-woo, it's actually based in science. There's documented research that has shown that leaders can use their intuition effectively in various ways. So, for example, in recognizing patterns, research by Klein and other researchers has highlighted that those that work in their field for many years develop intuitive abilities through extensive practice and exposure to their subject matter, which means that they can often recognize the signs and make effective decisions by looking at patterns and trends in their line of work due to their deep understanding of the subject matter. Intuition also develops through implicit learning and unconscious information processing, which refers to the acquisition of knowledge or skills without conscious awareness. The brain can process vast amounts of information at an unconscious level, and learning occurs automatically through exposure to various stimuli and experiences. And this contributes to the development of gut feelings and hunches. This means that we have all of this knowledge within us that has developed over the years that we have access to help steer us in the right direction. But the trick is quieting down our busy minds. Our internal noise keeps us from letting the right information to surface. Notice how your best ideas come to you while you're in the shower or when you're just about to fall asleep. It's because you're relaxed and in the parasympathetic nervous system, which drops you out of stress or fight or flight and into creativity and innovation. I'll share a little bit more on this later. How do you think the most influential explorer of all time, Christopher Columbus, found his way through uncharted waters? It was certainly through intuition, because he didn't have a map to follow. He relied on patterns he picked up over his time studying the world through other voyages and his nautical knowledge. As a skilled navigator, he developed a deep understanding of seamanship, cartography, and astronomy. He had a deep belief in his ability to reach Asia by sailing westward. This vision fueled his determination and inspired his crew to share in this adventurous spirit. Whilst his voyage led him to discover the Americas and not Asia, His expedition provided the playbook for further exploration of the unknown world. So in the context of AI, leaders must identify AI needs through the lens of their true north, their strategic vision. Whether it be increasing market share or elevating client experience or another crucial endeavor, unless they get clear on their vision first, they cannot begin to critically analyze a myriad of AI opportunities to deploy to help them bring that vision to life. The second capability I want to deep dive into is EQ and other heart-centered skills. So in my view, a heart-centered leader is acutely aware of their humanity. I coined my signature leadership development program, Human-Centered Leader, to mean this. In this program, I help leaders identify their values, their purpose and strengths, and align their leadership identity with these things, because when they do, they are authentic and comfortable with who they are. They're able to be vulnerable. And when they accept themselves for who they are more able to be inclusive of others. These traits develop trust, which go on to create psychological safety, where people feel safe to be themselves, speak their minds, and take risks without fear of negative consequences. A human-centric leader is aware of and can read their team's emotions. They're not afraid of negative emotions because these things provide important clues into how their team is feeling and how to support them. They also practice emotion coaching to help themselves and their team learn to reduce the intensity of their negative emotions, ensuring that those negative emotions don't drive decision-making. They also learn internal tools to bounce back from the negative emotions brought on by difficulties or uncertainties. Just imagine a leader navigating the unknown, unable to control their fear of failure and the impact that will have on their team. I recorded a podcast episode with Van Mulrine, GM of Swiss watch brand Tag Heuer, yesterday on the imposter syndrome. The term was coined over 45 years ago by two female doctors who got together to conduct a study to understand the feelings of self-doubt and inadequacy experienced by high-achieving women in the workplace. Their findings were that these women felt inadequate despite evidence of their competence and accomplishments. Now we know that imposter syndrome is not gender specific, and in fact, it's not a syndrome at all. It's just self-doubt, which we all feel from time to time. And this, of course, is normal. So one of the things that emotional intelligence helps with is learning to question our thoughts, because thoughts aren't facts. We may get a negative thought as a result of fear or stress, but rather than believing that thought as fact, we can question its validity and question what it's trying to tell us and whether we need to do anything about it. Most of the time, we actually don't need to do anything. We just acknowledge it and move on. Now, I want to just touch on humility and why it's important. Well, in an age of rapid change, knowing what you don't know is as valuable as knowing what you do know. Leaders in the AI age need to be willing to learn and be open to seeking input from both inside and outside their organization. They also need to trust that others may know more than they do. Knowledge may well come from someone 20 years younger or 3 levels down the organizational hierarchy. In the case of AI, that's often the case. So in an AI age, an effective leader understands that someone with less experience doesn't mean they cannot make a key contribution. Companies like Nestle have implemented extensive reverse marketing programs. These initiatives are meant to institutionalize the process of learning to accept, welcome, and leverage the knowledge of team members, peers, and employees for the benefit of the business. Number 5 on the screen is actively listening and communicating with empathy. Now, this is a crucial human-centered leader skill, seeking to understand people's perspectives and concerns by giving them their full attention, demonstrating empathy, and avoiding rushing to judgment. And then 6 is practicing forgiveness. They understand that mistakes happen and are crucial for growth. So instead of holding grudges, they're creating supportive environments for their team members to learn. They lead from the front by practicing self-forgiveness. They lead from the front on acknowledging their own mistakes and learning from them. Brené Brown and Simon Sinek recommend that leaders also build trust by creating a sense of purpose and meaning for their team, which can inspire and motivate team members towards a common objective. Sinek recommends that leaders should provide clarity around the team's purpose and goals, ensuring that all team members understand their role and how they contribute to the overall success of their team. And then finally, leaders that thrive in change create environments that prioritize social connectedness and relationships. Promoting teamwork and collaboration during times of change is crucial. Creating opportunities to share ideas and support one another fosters a sense of belonging, encourages collective problem solving, and helps team members navigate uncertainties together. So the change that is brought on by serious disruptions like the pandemic, the financial crisis, skills shortages, so on and so forth, together with AI and what disruptions it can bring as well, may seem like one-off events, but they're actually business as usual, which is why there's a whole body of research into how to deal with and lead in a VUCA environment. VUCA stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Because a VUCA environment can naturally evoke negative emotions like fear, pessimism, emptiness, frustration, helplessness in all of us. And this has a negative impact on our cognitive ability and emotional regulation. So I'll next share what our brains and indeed we look like in times of change and disruption, and how leaders can leverage this knowledge to cultivate a positive mindset instead, and flip adversity into opportunity to continue to show up as their best. So knowing how we're naturally wired will help you understand how you and your team are feeling and processing during those stress-inducing events. The triune brain framework developed by neuroscientist Paul MacLean suggests that the human brain can be divided into 3 evolutionary layers or systems. In reality, of course, our brains are not that simple, but this is a very useful framework to understand how the brain functions. So the reptilian brain is responsible for instinctual and automatic behaviors, the limbic system for emotions and motivations, and the prefrontal cortex for rational thinking and complex cognition. Each layer is associated with different functions and responses. So when we face stress-inducing events like, I guess, what we've seen over the last few years, but also with uncertainty, our brains undergo certain processes within these layers. If our leaders don't provide clarity or transparency about the introduction of new tech or policies, we naturally fill in the gaps. And usually we expect the worst, which I'll explain why in the next slide. Our negative thoughts and emotions about the situation activate the amygdala in the reptilian brain, which triggers the fight or flight response, preparing the body to confront the threat or escape from it. This response involves the release of stress hormones, increased heart rate, heightened alertness, and enhanced physical capabilities. The limbic system activates, leading to the experience of emotions such as fear, anxiety, or frustration. This can influence decision-making, behavior, and perception of the situation. The the prefrontal cortex, is associated with higher order thinking, reasoning, and complex cognitive processes. However, when faced with stress or uncertainty, it becomes impacted. The presence of stress hormones can hinder rational thinking and problem-solving abilities, or completely bypass them, leading to either impulsive or instinctual reactions. When the brain is in fight or flight mode, it starts preparing the body for survival, making the blood and energy rush away from the rational and emotional part of the brain and away from our vital organs like the heart and the digestive system, and into our legs and arms to either fight or run or freeze to respond to the perceived, not real threat, in this case of AI. This perceived threat can be prevented by leaders simply speaking up about important changes that will impact employees, like whether their organization plans to implement AI. Whether you introduce AI or not, knowing that employees would be hearing or reading about it in the media it's important to raise it as a topic of conversation or seek input from the team to get ahead of the negative thoughts and emotions. Teaching our teams to regulate their thoughts and emotions in response to stress is an important leadership practice that they can either run themselves or outsource. In doing so, we are helping our teams learn emotional regulation and intelligence to maximize their mental cognition and well-being during high stress or high pressure times. Now, to make matters worse for our ability to think rationally and regulate our emotions during times of uncertainty, we need to know that as human beings, we have a natural negativity bias. This is something we inherited from prehistoric times, where survival of the fittest was a major concern, and we had to look out for the bad, like a saber-toothed tiger lurking in the woods. While these days we have no saber-toothed tigers to fear, we haven't actually unlearned the natural reflex to see the bad first. Given that our cognition and emotional intelligence is impacted by the natural reflexes of our reptilian brain and stress is all around us, a huge body of research has been conducted into how we can learn a positivity bias and mindset. One of the pioneering professors and researchers into this is Martin Seligman, professor of positive psych at the University of Pennsylvania. Now, many decades ago, his team conducted a very simple intervention called the 3 good things activity to determine the impact. The intervention basically involves reflecting on and diarizing the 3 good things we are grateful for each day, and generally doing it at the end of the day. So by looking out for the good throughout the day, knowing we need to write about it in our diary, naturally trains our brain to learn a positivity bias, to learn to look for the good. Doing that every day for an 8-week period has led to major benefits like a full reduction in anxiety and depressive symptoms, more antibodies in the system to strengthen immunity against the flu, to name just a few. This study has been replicated thousands of times over the last few decades to show that human beings can mitigate the impact of uncertainty and perceived threats by almost 90%. What this means is that we can regulate our emotions, exercise empathy, and think clearly in times of stress, and show up as our best. Other interventions like mindfulness meditation can also reduce the stress response for perceived threats because you're training your brain to focus on a single anchor, like the breath or music, to train the ability to focus and concentrate on whatever we like to keep the mind from focus on one thing so that we aren't going down that rabbit hole of negative thoughts on demand. It's important to remember that the reptilian brain serves a critical function. Of course, it ensures our survival in high-risk situations like a house fire. But the trouble is the brain developed in prehistoric times where survival was a daily challenge, and over time, dangers have reduced, but our reptilian brain hasn't adjusted. It still perceives danger in everyday circumstances. And unless we're mindful of our thoughts, it can wreak havoc on our ability to be the best versions of ourselves. And it can also wreak havoc on our heart and cardiovascular system in general, and also the digestive system and all vital organs, because they cannot continuously activate and then deactivate each time you perceive danger. That's just not a sustainable way for the organs to function. The great thing is we can deactivate the threat response by thought alone, like mentioned previously. But we first must catch ourselves in threat response and trick the brain and body that it's safe to enable us to access rational thought and solve the problem at hand. So to determine if you're in survival mode, check if your mind is racing or foggy. Then do a body scan for any muscle tightness in your face, jaw, shoulders. Relax all the tight muscles and then slowly shift shallow breaths into normal breathing by taking a few long, deep breaths. This helps reactivate the rational part of the brain to enable you to evaluate things more rationally, make better decisions, and choose a response that aligns with your values. Other ways to induce calm during stress-triggering events include taking a walk, because exercise floods the body with endorphins. Hug your loved ones. Touch releases oxytocin. Reframe your thinking about the situation. Remember that your thoughts influence your emotions, and all emotions are data for you to use to make effective decisions. And understand what strategies work for you, and practice them when you need them most. Reflect on all the times that you stood in front of your fridge at the end of a busy workday, staring at it with a puzzled expression, unsure what to make for dinner, and you end up eating something with no nutritional value or getting Uber Eats. Does this ring a bell? I know that I've been there. Now, the reason this happens is because you just spent a whole day using your prefrontal cortex to focus, think, plan, motivate yourself, create, learn. And now it's depleted of fuel and energy. So you can prevent the depletion of fuel by planning ahead to reduce the need to make decisions in the moment. If you take the time to review your work schedule at the start of the week and plan what you will wear, what you will have for lunch and dinner. When you do exercise, you will have more fuel in the tank when you need it, and you will make healthier decisions. Planning ahead and embedding healthy daily habits like exercise and good nutritious meals also reduce your reliance on motivation techniques, which use up the prefrontal cortex as well. Our brains like routine for this reason, so take the time to set up some daily health routines. Another interesting fact is that the major source of fuel for the prefrontal cortex is dopamine, which largely comes from positive emotions, but also good quality sleep, certain foods, and regular exercise. Dopamine in the prefrontal cortex modulates cognitive control, thereby influencing attention, impulse inhibition, perspective, memory, and cognitive flexibility, which are all absolutely crucial. So if you want to make effective decisions, improve your attention, memory, and emotional regulation, you need to take action to look out for the positive in your life to increase positive emotions. As leaders, we can create a positive climate in our teams to help them maximize their cognitive ability and their agility, and reframe stressful circumstances as opportunities for growth. So here are some simple things leaders can do to cultivate a positive mindset and positive emotions at work to help employees show up as their best, regardless of uncertainties. So the first is gratitude, and notice your team members doing something well and tell them. That's something very simple that anyone can implement today. Forgiveness, to cultivate forgiveness, acknowledge the pressures that may have led to a mistake, and provide a supportive environment to ensure learning occurs. To cultivate compassion in the team, regularly check in with the team and be on the lookout for team members that need help. Learning to regulate negative emotions is critical, but so is changing our mindset about constraints or uncertainties. I run this activity to help leaders flip adversity into opportunity. I first ask them to consider a current business goal and list the primary obstacles they will face in seeking to achieve their goal. Then what limitations, liabilities, or disadvantages must they deal with? After writing all of this down, I ask them to stop and consider their assumptions, rethink the situation from other angles, consider how each constraint might be turned to their advantage, consider how might it force them towards creative and innovative approaches that actually advance their efforts or drive breakthrough solutions. So in conclusion, leadership in the AI era requires us to navigate uncharted waters with a compass, not a map. We must embody qualities such as integrity, empathy, emotional intelligence, vision, humility, and adaptability. Learning from the experience of organizations leading well in the AI age, we can harness the power of AI while maintaining a human-centered approach. By cultivating the collective intelligence of our organization, leading with authenticity and empathy, and embracing the opportunities presented by AI rather than fearing them, we can chart a course towards a future that maximizes human potential and ensures sustainable success. So that's it from me. I want to thank you all for your time. I'm super curious about how your organizations will navigate the AI space over the next few years, and I look forward to sharing your best practices in future talks. Angela, back to you.
Thank you very much. We've got some building going on next door. So if there's like drilling or something, I'm okay. It's the noise just started. Dear. So yeah, thank you so much, Sophie. If anybody wants to put some comments or questions into the chat, Kath's just said, oh, thanks, Sophie. Fabulous. Thank you. More than happy. I think we've got 2 minutes. No, we've got 1 minute. We've got 1 minute. So I'll keep a quick eye on that. I think it's really interesting because you covered forgiveness a couple of times. And I think it's also about, it's not about forgiving. I think it's about forgiving others, but also forgiving yourself, right? For not knowing everything at the time or thinking, yeah, I probably didn't think about that properly at the time, and seeking help from other people or experts or having just that open mind. I think so. Yeah, it was interesting that came up a couple of times. And you know what's just towards the end there, you were talking about planning ahead and reducing decision making. I mean, that's just so key for so many things. You see it happen, like people fall off the health wagon so quickly because you do use up a lot of energy having to make good decisions all during the day. So to eliminate those, I think is a really good strategy.
Yeah. Oh, they're just so useful. It's not just, us navigating the AI age. It's just making sure we, meet our health and wellness goals. And so, it's just truly fascinated about the brain and how we can really use it to our advantage rather than kind of just be, a slave to it. And no, it's about having those hacks, isn't it, to go, how do I circumvent these things that we're not in control of, and were built in millions of years ago to help us, that are now not very helpful at all. So no, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Love the focus on increasing importance of human-centric leaders. That's great. All right, well, I think we've run out of time. Thank you for everyone for putting the thank you notes in the chat. We really appreciate it. So just in wrapping up, I'll get the slides. Sophie will send me the slides today. We'll get those out. The recording will come out hopefully next week. It's got to go up to London. They add lots of nice things to it for us. So we'll share those as soon as possible. We have a couple of events coming up, but I think the most popular one that everyone looks forward to every year is Scylla from Clayton's does an employment law update, which we call HR Horrors. So that's coming up in around Halloween. We haven't got the date yet, so I'll keep you posted on that. And the Fraser Jones Salary Survey and Market Trends is about to be released. So thank you to everyone who participated in that. In Sophie's slides, I think there's a bit on one of the offsite. The retreat that you have coming up. So that will be included in that. Oh, there we go. There's some details there. It looks very relaxing in the wood there, the woods. Yeah,
the bush.
Well, just let me paint you a bit of a picture. Imagine taking 3 blissful days away from your everyday existence to indulge in the nurturing and healing of your body, mind, and spirit. And, this beautiful, breathtaking, natural settings surrounded by a range of holistic modalities, and which include actually spa treatments, massages, revitalizing yoga sessions, and nutritious food, and also meditation practices. And basically in this serene and mindful state, we will provide 15 lucky attendees with the tools to embark on a profound journey of self-reflection. By uncovering and releasing any repressed emotions, they can discover hidden signs that guide them towards their truest self and propel towards the next stage of their growth and evolution. So whilst, I focus on leadership, this is open to anyone really that is looking to really achieve a level of self-mastery and in whatever it is that they're doing. And so it's going to be run in spring, 5th to 8th of November, and it's only a short drive from Sydney CBD, 90 minutes. You guys are actually the first to hear about this retreat, so we haven't started promoting it yet. We don't have the site up as yet. That will happen next week. We're only hosting 15 people. So if you are interested, please inquire with me soon via the details on the screen. We're giving today's guests actually 10% off the price, so be sure to use the Fraser Jones discount code when you inquire with us.
Thank you. Thanks. And I'm guessing, is there no mobile reception out there?
There is actually. It's not entirely strict, but you can hand in your mobile phone at reception if you like.
If you like to. Well, look, thank you so much. We'll get, and thank you for that discount code for people if they're interested, but I will, yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much again, Sophie. I really appreciate it. We'll get the slides out today. And thank you everyone for joining.